September 6th.
September 6th.
That helps you.
Okay. If you wish to serve, if the council members wish to serve, contact you,
Yeah.
correct?
We may be boycotted.
Mm.
You know what? We'll have a good meeting tomorrow.
We will. We'll get done early. Hey, if you will, we need to carry it on to the next meeting.
Where's my people?
Really? Okay.
Well,
All right.
I'm not gonna skip this.
I talked to Russell today. Lon brought support.
All right.
Good, good.
Look at here, look at here.
Hey, hey.
Good evening.
How you doing?
Don't mistake my personality with my attitude.
You got it.
I'm not going.
Yeah, Lon told me today. Let me see if I can get this right. Don't mistake my personality. Don't confuse my personality. Don't mistake my personality.
So how you been? Good.
Final start. Really worked. That's always a good
Yeah.
day. Water for chickens.
How many chickens do you have?
This where they're at.
Over there. Go find the crew.
4 phases. They're just finishing the first phase. They're built. Check the egg producers.
I think the heat.
That's why they're fishing. Just really bad. The chickens. Still full Scott's new car.
And then she was out, she's right on the creek, and she said the creek was overflowing. Send me a picture of it. Good job. And she says, I'm gonna go and try to take a picture of this creek overflowing. And I'm like, okay, just be careful, that's what she said. She was gonna take a picture of it, and well, send me a copy. Yes, I gave her my copy. It's down White's Road. It is, yeah. It's down by White's Road.
That's Russell.
I couldn't see his face.
Interesting.
Those 2,000.
Hey, Thursday's our day.
Yeah, Thursday's our day. You want me to pick you up still? Okay, cool. I have to be there at 3, so 2:30, 2:15, I'll show up.
How'd your daughter do?
Still over.
Oh, she's still over there.
Yeah, my neighbor and take her over. It's supposed to rain Saturday, and I don't want to drive up. So I stayed home with neighbor, but she wasn't home.
It is what it is.
Can I get you to draw me a quick map to your house? Thank you. I've only been there once or twice, so.
In the dark.
You wanna go via Center Street or the other way?
Yeah, Center Street's fine.
How did you go the last time? You came up Porcupine, didn't you? Two north down
Yeah,
by
I
the
think
same?
I'm not too much. Either way.
Well, they-
Or just give me your address and I'll put it in there.
That's probably the easiest thing.
Yeah, okay. That'll work. Two more minutes and we'll kick the fire out. We can do that. We can do that.
What's the big attraction here tonight? All right, now that the joke is over, what is the real story here?
It's not that I'm gonna do a dance. No, we're.
Thank God for small favors.
Yeah, thank God.
The second 2 rows, 2 and 3 are all Chino. But you do that.
Got a minute. Yeah.
Go ahead and call this meeting to order. Please rise for the invocation. Remove your hats, please, and then the Pledge of Allegiance.
Today, unfortunately, we have moved from community awareness to individual awareness. We are told, taught, and cajoled to value self above community. My prayer this evening centers on a quote from George Bernard Shaw. He spoke, "I am of the opinion that my life belongs to the community, and as long as I live, it is my privilege to do for it whatever I can. I want to be thoroughly used up when I die, for the harder I work, the more I live. Life is no brief candle to me. It is sort of a splendid torch which I have got hold of for a moment. I want it to make it burn as brightly as possible before handing it off to future generations." Unquote. I pray that in this meeting and in family gatherings everywhere, that we focus on building a healthy community, and in doing so, we ensure a bright future for our succeeding generations. I ask these things in His glorious name. Amen.
Amen. Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Please be seated. Ms. Lewis, may we have the roll call?
Good evening, Mayor, members of the council. Councilmember McKee. Here. Councilmember Turner.
Here.
Councilmember Wojcik.
Here.
Councilmember Best.
Here.
Vice Mayor Croft.
Here.
And Mayor Marley.
Here. Introductions, presentations, and proclamations. The Town of Chino Valley and the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce Business Appreciation Program, I believe. Ms. Gritman is going to give that. All right.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I'm going to introduce Tracy Shimakowski, our Chamber Executive. She is going to announce a business that we are honoring for the quarter and also introduce, at least by name, the new businesses that have opened in Chino Valley in the last quarter.
Excellent.
Tracy?
Thanks, Cecilia. Mayor Council, I'd like to introduce two new businesses that have opened in Chino Valley in the months of May and June, and that is Robinson's Mobile Home Business and Domino's Pizza.
All right.
Making me hungry. Our long-standing business we'd like to recognize tonight is Chino Heating and Cooling, and they have 34 years of quality and integrity. Established in Chino Valley in 1980, incorporated in 1985 by Bob and Bonnie Little, where the business was located in an old gas station on Highway 89, where currently today is the Chino Valley Medical Center. In the early 90s, Chino Heating moved their current location to 550 North Highway 89. Bob Little ran the service department, sales, and installation. Their son Mike Little ran installation department and sheet metal fabrication. Bonnie ran the accounting department, bookkeeping, and administration. Bob and Bonnie retired in 2000, and Mike Little took over running the business. Mike and his wife Denisa presently run the business. Mike's oldest son Brady and his wife Rachel are now working in the company with plans to carry on the family business. In 1980, the business was ran by 3 employees, and today Chino Heating and Cooling is staffed with 25. Wow. We are proud to say that each and every one of our staff prides themselves on customer satisfaction, quality, and integrity. Chino Heating and Cooling today runs a full-service department with 6 trained and certified service technicians, service manager, and service dispatcher, a yearly maintenance program called the Comfort Club, which currently maintains about 325 residential and light commercial clients, and a full installation department run by their foreman, Bill, and I'm not sure if I can say his last name right, Arndt, thank you, for the last 23 years. Sales department offers free estimates for residential retrofit, light commercial, and new construction residential and commercial by Mike Little, Brady Little, and Rick Sturdivant. They also have a full sheet metal fabrication shop. So if Mike and Denisa can come up front, we'd like to recognize you tonight.
I know he's retired, but he started. I'm retired, I'm supposed to be sitting down.
Recognition letter?
Oh, thank you so much.
Oh, absolutely. Come around here, please. Come around here, please. Keep it down. Oh, yeah. And Chino Valley's open for business. And a bottle of Atlantic Creek Mint.
I'll never see any of that. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Cool. That's pretty neat. Our next item is a presentation regarding the town co-sponsoring a free healthcare day in the Quad Cities in June of 2015. And Mr. Dirksen, I believe, if you would, please introduce yourself and these other 2 gentlemen.
Russell Dirksen, I'm a local attorney here, but I also represent a number of statewide and national nonprofits. And with me is our local and state director for Bridges to Health.
Mm-hmm.
And my clients here in this case are ASI Inc., Arizona Conference, the Seventh-day Adventist Inc., and Amen Healthcare Services Inc. The brief history is these nonprofits have had a desire to
Could you
provide
speak a little closer, please?
volunteer medical services to various communities. The most recent one was in the Bay Area last fall, where we had the Oakland Coliseum and the San Francisco Convention Center, I believe it was, and we had over 200 medical providers and 1,000 plus volunteers, and we served close to 6,000 people for free.
Excellent.
And Steve will give you a brief rundown of what his experience was at that site. But while he's speaking here, I'll come back to this. The goal is to beta test for these organizations a smaller version for a city of 250,000 or less. And we managed to get Prescott selected to beta test the program. And we'll talk a little bit more about what we're planning to do here and what help we need. But first I want Steve to talk a little bit about the big projects. I mean, we're in the Alamo Dome next year. The entire Alamo Dome will be full of free medical clinics for a week in San Antonio next year. But right now I'll have Steve talk first about what happened in San Francisco, and then if I could have Lou give an idea of what we're looking at doing here.
Real quick, Mayor, Councilman, thank you very much for the time. What we'd like to do is our camp, we have in Yavapines here, we have been meeting since 1947 for summer camps and our camp meetings. And for many years, we said, you know, we need to get back to our community, to our communities. And so one of the ways that we can get back to our communities is to offer free medical and free dental for 2 days, 2015 in June. Specifically 17, I think it's 16th and 17th. And we want to offer this to the entire Quad Cities. So we're excited about this. We did this in San Francisco Bay Area, and as Attorney Dirksen just said, what an experience. And I'm a pastor, and I had an opportunity to work the front lines. We had thousands of people who camped overnight at the door ready to get in. So I had the opportunity to work the front lines. There were thousands of people snaked around the buildings, as you can imagine. And I had the opportunity to go actually greet these people. And they were so grateful. They said, I just can't believe free medical, free, you know. And we were so excited. We said, you know what? As Camp Yavapines, we have been meeting here for years. What a way to get back to our communities. Cool. So that's what we want to do.
We got the pilot program.
Hi, my name is Lou Fitting, and I've been a part of a youth and young adult outreach the past 3 years. It's been actually taking place for 9 years now, where they do for 1 week during this camp meeting time at Camp Yavapines a beautification project, like the extreme homemaker makeover program that you would see. With the exception, with 1 year, we went into a complete mobile home park, which was in violation of many codes, and we went in there and we cleaned that up. So between 60 and 100 youth went in there, and again, all free of charge. We've gone in and we've painted homes, we've reconstructed some homes, we've put decks. This last year we put a deck on a women's transitional shelter and painted another elderly individual's home. So this is something that we want to do in this part of the program. One leg is with the health. The other is another leg of it will be in doing smaller, again, beautification projects, coordinating with the local cities to find out what can we do to help beautify Chino Valley.
Neat. That's neat. Thank you.
And as Lou and as Steve has said, what we provide is we provide the volunteers, whether they're professionals like dentists and doctors or what have you, general contractors we'll have here. We provide the insurance. We will arrange, we are in process of securing our venue and our medical supplies, and we're often successful with getting Kohl's and other people on board. What's key to the success of these programs and what was key in the Bay Area is having local governmental sponsorships and co-sponsors. In both Bay Areas, the mayor's office was on board in both Oakland and San Francisco. Prescott is on board here, and we're going to the other governmental entities. What we're asking from local governmental entities is assistance with your facilities to maybe arrange for transport to the venue on the day of the proceedings, because a lot of the people we serve do not have good transport. We will need assistance with crowd control and law enforcement. I mean, the city of Oakland, the city of San Francisco gave us several officers. I may require an IGA with the city of Prescott if that's where the venue is, or Prescott Valley if that's where the venue is. But we will need law enforcement support. As you heard the story of thousands of people staking around the buildings, I don't want my doctors having to worry about that. I want them focusing on service, not on crowd control. We could use assistance with publicity, whatever the town has available to get the word out once we have the venue, once you've lined up transportation to get the word out to the citizens of Chino Valley that could use free dental, that could use medical. So we'll need assistance with transportation. Also, if you have any social services that you would like referrals to be made to, I know I'm working with the Lions Club right now. For when people get services, they can be referred should a doctor, I mean, like Dr. Ekdahl is going to be working with us. So if we get a doctor needing to make a referral to a social service, we'd like to have somebody there from local government to try to refer those to. And also, as Lou spoke, we maybe Public Works or code enforcement, we need to know places for anywhere from 200 to 300 young people, young adults, and contractors can fan out to do beautification, so we'll need some leads for that. And so our request is that maybe you can direct staff to meet with either Steve or with Lou and maybe provide a definite co-sponsorship agreement on the agenda later on so that we can get those support systems in place so that we can have a successful beta test here in Prescott of the smaller version of what's worked in the larger cities. And I'm just thrilled we get a chance to beta test it here in the Quad Cities. And just a few numbers. In San Francisco, over 6,000 people were served over the 3-day period. We had close to 200 plus physicians and dentists working for free. And close to $5 million worth of free medical services was provided in those 3 days. And we're hoping to have a successful one here. My target is from 20 to 40 healthcare providers on this leg. I think they're hoping to do at least 5 to 10 major projects with the contractors. So as much support as we could get, we'd like to have the town of Chino as an official co-sponsor, as Prescott was, or as in the Bay Area, San Francisco and Oakland, the towns of Oakland were. So that's what we're asking for.
All right, thank you. And Mr. Best will be our council liaison, and hopefully he'll have that, I guess, as an agenda item. We'll see
Once we
how
have a
it
chance to meet with town staff.
Great, great. Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate it. And thank you, Mr. Best, for putting this together. Oh, we had a question. Mr. Dirksen, can you please come back up?
Who have the question?
Yes, ma'am.
I do. I was wondering, are you going to be using physicians and dentists from our area, or are you bringing in your own?
We will do both. Like Dr. Ekdahl's agreed to come on board. We're aware of a number of dentists that I'm going to be going to the Board of Dentistry to bring in that are volunteering. But if local providers want to volunteer, the doors are open, because we will provide a booth and we will provide equipment for every provider that wants to get out there and work. They're long days.
Okay.
You know, that's a very good question, Council. You know, we're going to be recruiting physicians and dentists from around the union. So we'll be coming from, in fact, I've already had a couple dentists sign up from Washington.
Wow.
So we're going to ask, because these medical professions, it's kind of like we're telling them it's like a mission trip to help us out a little bit, because they have to pay their own transportation and hotel fees, et cetera, and then they're donating their time on top of that. Oh, by the way, one last thing I want to hasten to add real quick. We have taken the challenge and conquered malpractice and licensure for every medical profession coming in. They do not need to worry about that. That is all covered, totally covered. So we're excited about that.
All right, thank you.
But in answer to your question, Councilman, yes, we will be happy to have local people. I am spreading my net as far as I can get it. If I get more than 40 providers, I'll find room for them.
All right. Were
Thank
there
you.
any other questions? Oh, did you have a follow-up
No, I just said
question?
thank you.
Okay, you bet. You had a question, Mr.
What was the
Wojcik?
date for this?
June 17th and 18th, we were told the first time,
Yeah, June
right?
17th and 18th, it's third week of June. And we'll be spending 2 days setting up the venue. As you can imagine, we're going to have a lot of general contractor work getting it ready for those providers. And then our provider of all the medical equipment comes in and sets it up the day before. And then we hit the ground running. And hopefully law enforcement's outside keeping the lines under control. We're doing the final setup on Tuesday night.
Excellent. Thank you. No further questions? Thank you much. Now we come to the portion of our meeting entitled Call to the Public. Call to the Public is an opportunity for the public to address the council concerning a subject that is not on the agenda. Public comment is encouraged. Individuals are limited to speak for 3 minutes. Total time for call to the public may be up to 30 minutes per meeting. Council action taken as a result of public comment will be limited to directing staff to study the matter, scheduling the matter for further consideration and decision at a later date, or responding to criticism. Do we have anyone for call to the public? Yes, sir. Please come up and state your name.
Evening, Council, Mayor. My name's Robert McCauley. I'm a resident of Chino Valley. As a Vietnam combat veteran, I fought for our First Amendment free speech rights. In reading through old council meeting minutes, I discovered something that is sadly missing from current agenda items: public input. At call to the public, citizens cannot address items on the current agenda. When the agenda item is being discussed, public input has been eliminated. I know Mayor Marley says it is his right as mayor to allow or disallow public input at the council sessions. Curtailing free speech rights, what Arizona revised statute is this? I also know the President of the U.S. can issue an executive order restricting firearm sales, curtailing gun rights. Having the right to do something and doing it is not always in the public interest. Mayor Marley would be upset if his gun rights were removed, as I am upset my free speech rights have been limited. Give us our free speech rights back. Protect both the First and Second Amendments. Let the people of Chino Valley have a voice in town decisions. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Anyone else for call to the public? Yes, sir. Please come up and state your name.
Okay. Mayor, Council. Hello, my name is Mike Sturdy. I'm a member of the Ethical Treatment of Town Mayors. This is a good group. On behalf of our members, this thing here? Oh, I'm too tall, huh? On behalf of our members, I'd like to express a well-deserved thanks to Chris Marley for continually striving to direct the city in the right direction. A man with beliefs of the majority of the citizens of Chino Valley. If every other city would follow his direction, I'm sure the cities would be beneficial by that. So with that, I would like to present a gavel that I have custom made for the mayor. And I would like to present that to you. So this is something that he might need in case that someone maybe tries to impose a tumbleweed tax perhaps, or something. So, anyway.
Wow.
That's a two-hander, man.
Command respect. That's cool.
It looks like you can play chairs.
Okay. That is all.
That's all, folks. You ever never do.
Don't get in your way now.
One time, my vice mayor gave me a rubber hammer because he said it was too loud when I used the wooden gavel. So this one will keep him awake. I feel sorry for any centipede that goes across the table. Anyway, thank you very much. Anyone else for call to the public? Yes, sir.
I want to thank the mayor and the council for this opportunity.
Excuse me, sir, could you
Preface.
state your...
My name is Lee Paul. I live in Appaloosa Meadows 2 on Harrison Drive. I'm here representing myself. And we've been blessed by a lot of rain, and with the rain, we get weeds, tumbleweeds. The federal government spent $17 million this year on the International Fund for Ireland, $1.5 billion from Amtrak for subsidies, $318 million for Title X family planning. The federal government has shown us the way to big spending. We here in Chino Valley cannot certainly compete with the feds, but we can do our part for the economy and job development. I'm here to submit to the City Council a proposition for the establishment of a 7-year study for tumbleweeds, and an ad hoc committee can be appointed to propose a tax on some tumbleweeds. Hire officials, officers who enforce legal growing, and to arrest those who are pitching weeds over the fence of their neighbors. We can use infrared satellite photos to catch those who are illegally farming tumbleweeds, and install tracking chips to determine the migration patterns of the weeds. If weeds begin to get scarce, they can be placed. They can be placed on the endangered species list and can be raised on farms and reintroduced into the native habitat until we have plenty of tumbleweeds again. And after all, it's about going green, isn't it? All this will require workers, and we do need to create jobs. Our city logo depicts a majestic antelope, and that is the fauna. However, I think we need to add the flora. So I'm suggesting a tumbleweed be added to our logo so we might complete the true nature of the flora and the fauna of our fair city. In closing, if I may suggest, if the federal government can allocate $300,000 to develop a video game about the Civil War, $250 million economic aid to Egypt, can't we spend a little more money here to help our economy? I would like to leave you now with this haunting reverie. See them tumbling down, pledging their love to the ground. Lonely but free I'll be found, drifting along with the tumbling tumbleweeds. Thank you.
And you kept a straight face.
Thank you. Those of you who have met Mr. Paul, he is a World War II veteran, and only a World War II veteran could get away with proposing a tumbleweed tax. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Any others for call to the public? Okay, call to the public is now closed. A response to the public. Response to the public is an opportunity for the mayor to inform the public about how town officials addressed matters raised during call to the public at a previous meeting. The first item is, item A, is the town's legal authority to build the Road 1 East extension, excuse me, across current easements, and proof that such easements had been dedicated. And actually, that first segment had two questions. The first question from Mr. Chantos was asking why he had not received a reply to his letter. And the answer to that is that our town attorney is not paid to provide legal advice to third parties. Ms. Smiley works directly for the town council, and Mr. Chantos is free to consult his own attorney regarding his rights if he wishes. But our town's attorney is under contract just to us. The next question from Mr. Chantos was asking by what authority the town was planning to build a Road 1 East extension across current easements and proof that such easements had been dedicated. And the answer is on November 12th, 2013, an intergovernmental agreement with the Arizona Department of Transportation was approved by the Chino Valley Town Council. On June 10th, 2014, the Chino Valley Town Council voted to accept and declare as town rights-of-way several previously dedicated and recorded easements. Later on in call to the public, Mr. Chantos came forward and asked how the decision was made to place the bond infrastructure between Road 2 North and Road 3 North as opposed to other areas. The answer to that is that the decision was made by the Citizens Bond Committee. This committee was appointed by the town council and received input from the Arizona Commerce Authority, Elliott Pollock Consultants, APS Economic Development, Yavapai College, and several others. As mayor, I did not sit in on their deliberations. I didn't feel the need to micromanage them. They made that decision. So. And call to the public next week, or answer to the public next week should be interesting. I don't know how to answer that tumbleweed tax. Current event summaries and reports. This item is for information only. The mayor, any council member, or town manager may present a brief summary or report of current events, or ask a staff member to provide the same. Presentation on information requested by the mayor and council will be made and questions answered. No action will be taken. Do we have any reports on this side from committees? Okay. Reports on this side. All right, Mr. Smith, I believe you have one, and then I will speak.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I believe at the last meeting, a question was raised about funding that had been provided to the town for the purposes of an amphitheater. I'm sorry. For the purposes of an amphitheater. Our finance director, Joe Duffy, did look into that. We located the funds. They were not in a discretionary or segregated fund line. But we did go back, and with Jamie's help through the clerk's office, we did research the matter. The funds are there. Joe has created a discretionary funding line to specifically track those dollars. And when he returns from vacation, he'll provide more specific information to the council at that time.
Okay, thank you.
I did have two other items to announce. We have officially received approval from the state. Our full request for housing rehabilitation dollars was granted. That's a rarity on the first try. We have $275,000 coming to Chino Valley for housing rehabilitation. There are some 40 homes that have been identified as meeting the requirements of that program. So we're going to begin that program as soon as we get coordinated with the state and the funds are ready to roll. We also, last week, appeared in front of the Water Infrastructure Financing Authority's Board of Directors. The town of Chino Valley was approved for financing for $13.5 million for the GEO bond initiative that's on the ballot in November. They also approved $1.478 million in a grant to the town, which would take the amount borrowed from $13.5 million to right at $12 million.
Cool.
And that's just free and clear off the top.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
Interest rate? What was the interest rate?
We anticipate the interest rate to be between 2.3 and 2.5% for the 20-year term.
Okay. Thank you. That's neat. All right. The mayor's report this evening is on water stewardship, part 2. Those of you that have been reading the local paper, I've been trying to do a series on water stewardship. As I indicated in the last mayor's report, one of the water stewardship measures which is most popular and cost-effective is the conservation of existing water supplies. The greatest advantage of this measure is that every one of us can do it on a daily basis. Nothing is required except an awareness of a limited resource, a will to exercise self-discipline in daily habits, such as shorter showers, not leaving the water running, etc., and the use of drought-resistant landscaping methods wherever possible. Just to give you an idea of how much water is used by various trees in the area, a mature ponderosa pine can use approximately 300 gallons per day, which is about the same as a family of 4 in a standard home. A mature cottonwood, on the other hand, can use as much as 100 gallons per hour under ideal conditions. Like cottonwoods, elm trees are also big water users. One of our local residents pointed out that marijuana plants only use about 6 gallons of water per day, but shading your home with them would be a poor idea. Conservation of water is an excellent goal to strive for, but it must be balanced with individual liberty and quality of life. For example, utilizing concrete slabs and underground cisterns instead of trees and flowers would greatly reduce our impact on the aquifer, but it would be a sterile environment indeed. Our scenic Verde River would deliver a lot more water to Arizona's lake systems if the cottonwood trees were gone, but the aesthetic value of the trees make the water loss a price that most Arizonans are willing to pay. We can enjoy quality of life and still conserve water if we utilize some basic principles coupled with old-fashioned common sense. After all, we are in this together. Okay. I had one other item. This is sort of neat, a library report. We have, I received from the Chino Valley Public Library a list of their total volunteer hours. Total volunteer hours this year was 7,226, and that's up from the total volunteer hours last year of 6,408. And if you stop and multiply that by minimum wage, it's a savings of $55,278. What a neat thing, all the volunteers working at the library. Let's give them a hand. All right.
Don't forget our corn dinner.
Oh, our corn dinner, yes, sir. We also have a week from Saturday, the FFA is going to have a corn dinner on September 6th. Any of our council members that wish to serve, please contact Mike Best. He will be taking your names and I am assuming assigning the time slots, correct?
Sherry gets to assign, I just give her the names.
Okay, you'll just turn us over to the authorities.
Mike is the corniest.
All right, that's true.
What's the time?
All right. Moving on to the consent agenda. All those items listed below are considered to be routine and may be enacted by one motion. Any council member may request to remove an item from consent agenda to be considered and discussed separately. Does anyone wish to remove any consent agenda items? None on this side? None on this side? Okay, the chair would entertain a motion.
Move to approve consent agenda items 6A and 6B.
Second it.
Okay, a motion in 2 seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Action items, consideration and possible action to approve an accountability contract between the town of Chino Valley and the Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $45,000. Funding source, $38,000 to come from non-departmental outside agency line and $7,000 to come from contingencies. Mr. Smith, I believe the contract has been upgraded. We've had the changes made that were requested 2 weeks ago.
Yes, sir. It's my understanding the town attorney and the chamber have worked to adjust the draft and that it's prepared and ready.
Okay. Any discussion on it? Any discussion? All right. The chair would entertain a motion.
Move to approve item 7A, approval of the accountability contract between the town and Chino Valley Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $45,000.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries. Moving on to item B.
I'd like to make a motion.
Yes, sir.
I move that we move item 7E and deal with it as the next item on the agenda.
Okay. We have a motion to move item 7E to the next item on the agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign.
Aye.
Okay. Motion carries.
I have another motion, a motion to table this item until the next meeting.
Okay. We have a table to motion, a motion to table item 7E.
Second.
Until the next meeting. We have the motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The next item is item B, public hearing regarding application from Richard Bicker Jr. for the agent change and acquisition of control of an existing Series 9 liquor store liquor license for Liquor Barn, located at 315 Business Park Drive, number 5, Chino Valley, and consideration and possible action to allow either, excuse me, to either allow or protest the change of ownership of the Series 9 liquor license for Liquor Barn to the Arizona Department of Liquor Licenses and Control. Ms. Lewis, did you have anything on this?
Not particularly. You've had these before. This is just a change of, in the ownership, it's either in the corporation or the LLC, but anytime they change the name of the holders of the license, they need to go through this process.
Okay.
So it's, if you want more, I can tell you
Okay.
more.
That's, mainly for our public, that they,
Right,
that they
right.
understand this. We need a motion.
Motion to open up a public hearing.
Okay.
Second it.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to hold the public hearing. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The whole public hearing is now open. Do we have anyone that wishes to address this item? The chair would entertain a motion.
I make a motion that we close the public hearing.
Okay.
Second it.
Motion in 2 seconds. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. And item 2 is,
Make a motion to approve the application
okay,
for Richard R. Becker for agent change and acquisition of control of the existing Series 9 liquor store, liquor license for the
Okay.
Liquor Barn located at 315 Business Park Drive, number 5, Chino Valley.
okay.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. On to item C, consideration and possible action to rezone approximately 438 acres located in Section 6, Township 15 North, Range 1 West, from single-family residential 2-acre minimum, SR2, to industrial, I. And Ms. Mayday, I believe, is doing this presentation. Yes, ma'am.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Before you, you have an application for rezoning, approximately 438 acres. This is a part of the Cortez Enterprises property located southeast of town. In the early part of the 2000s, the town of Chino Valley underwent a number of annexations, significantly increasing the area of the town. Ordinance number 476 annexed the equivalent of approximately 35 sections of land encompassing nearly 22,000 acres. Among those sections annexed was Section 6, Township 15 North, Range 1 West, a large portion of which is owned by Cortez Enterprises. This is the portion that we're talking about here. My notebook's in the way. This is 89, and this is the 4 South extension here. So you can get an idea of where we're talking about. Contemporaneously with the annexation, the town entered into a pre-annexation development agreement with Cortez Enterprises. The pre-annexation development agreement set forth a number of obligations assigned to both the town and Cortez, including a commitment to rezone the subject property from single-family residential 2-acre minimum to industrial, so that the applicants could use the property for gravel mining operations. In accordance with ARS 9471L, the subject property was rezoned to single-family residential 2-acre minimum upon the adoption of ordinance number 482. As you probably know, a city or municipality annexing property has to give it their zoning classification most closely matching that from the sending body. Difficulties arose regarding acquisition of right-of-way for the eastward extension of Road 4 South, and after mutually agreeing to extensions of time to acquire said rights-of-way in 2004, 2005, and 2006, Cortez initiated legal action against the town in December of 2006. The parties have been in litigation until February 28th of this year, when both sides agreed to work towards a resolution. A provisional settlement agreement was reached in February and was approved by Town Council and Cortez Enterprises on March 6, 2014. Among the other things, the agreement obligates Cortez to apply for I or industrial zoning and a conditional use permit for the operation of the concrete batch plant, gravel operation, and asphalt plant as originally proposed in the pre-annexation development agreement. And the said applications were filed with the Town Development Services Department in March, well in advance of their April deadline. God, all of a sudden it got louder. In conformance with the PADA and the agreement, Cortez Enterprises has requested the, now it's dead. Guess I'll have to use my outside voice. Cortez Enterprises has requested the rezoning of its approximately 438.5 acres from its current SR2 to industrial zoning for the purposes of operating a sand and gravel mining operation, a batch plant for the manufacture of concrete, and a portable hot mix asphalt plant. The mining and concrete plants are permitted uses. The asphalt plant we will be considering in another action for a conditional use permit. This site is ideal for a mining operation and concrete batch plant. It is located approximately 1 3/4 miles from the nearest residentially zoned property. The bottom of the wash is at 4,840 feet of elevation, and the boundary is at 4,860, further containing noise and dust by the activities. Recent completion of the East Road 4 South extension has provided road access in close proximity to the site. Cortez agrees that it will develop its own access from the subject property to the extension of East Road 4 South through normal administrative processes. Those areas of the site disturbed by the permitted operation will be remediated upon cessation of the mining and related activities, and by removal or reuse as appropriate of all materials, waste, and fine piles. Disturbed areas will then be graded to maintain positive drainage. Remediation of the other disturbed areas associated with the asphalt batch plant site will be addressed in the CUP. After proper notice in conformance with state law, a public hearing was held during the regular meeting of the Planning and Zoning Commission on August 5, 2014, at which the commission voted unanimously to forward the rezoning application to the town council with a recommendation for approval. The proposed uses in the application are supported by the 2000 general plan, adopted upon the passage of Resolution 676 on June 26, 2003, as well as the new 2013 general plan draft update, adopted by council on May 13th of this year. The previous plan originally designated the subject property as industrial overlay and low-density residential development. It was amended in March of 2005 to designate the subject property as an industrial overlay. The 2013 general plan designates the subject property as future growth areas, industrial, agribusiness, and contained planned community. So this project would meet both the, upon rezoning, the zoning requirements and the general plan land use designations. Staff supports the rezoning request and offers the following findings of fact. The proposed rezoning serves the public interest, health, comfort, convenience, safety, and general welfare of the citizens of Chino Valley, as the location of the site will minimize the dust and noise generated by the proposed sand and gravel mining, as well as the concrete batch plant on residents of the town. The impact of the sand and gravel mining and related activities on adjoining properties will be minimal. It is in the public's interest to resolve the long-standing suit between the town and Cortez by fulfilling the provisions of the PADA and rezoning the subject property to industrial. The applicant will be able to realize the uses first contemplated in the executed PADA. The location of the mining and related activities will ensure that said activities will minimally impact surrounding zoning districts while providing additional resources to the development and construction industries in this region. The proposed rezoning is also congruent with the previous general plan adopted by Town Council and the current 2013 general plan also adopted by Town Council. I'd be happy to answer any questions anyone has.
Okay. Any questions on this side? Any questions on this side? Thank you for letting us know how far it was to the nearest residence.
I measured.
Really, it's important. Sand and gravel operations like that, you don't want folks complaining about the noise. And so thank you for doing your homework on this. Are there any other comments or discussion? Nope. The chair would entertain a motion then.
Motion to approve rezoning the subject property from single-family residential, 2-acre minimum SR2 to industrial I.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Item D, consideration and possible action to authorize issuance of a conditional use permit for operating a portable asphalt plant on approximately 438 acres located in Section 6, Township 15 North, Range 1 West, which is the same area.
Same site, so I won't go through the whole story again.
Okay.
We'll skip right to the good part. This site, like the gravel mining, is ideal for a hot mix asphalt plant. It is located, again, 1.7 miles from the nearest residentially zoned property, providing ample separation between and mitigation of impacts on the plant and surrounding uses that may not be compatible. This location would minimize congestions on roads within the town, as completion of the East 4 South extension is provide direct access to in close proximity to the site. The areas disturbed on the site will be remediated upon cessation of the manufacture of asphalt by removal or reuse, as appropriate of all materials, wastes, and fine piles, reseeding areas of disturbance at the asphalt plant area, and completion of a Phase 1 environmental impact assessment upon the same to ensure that the site is not contaminated. The term of the conditional use permit shall be 50 years from the date of approval. The conditions of approval are as follows. A, the areas disturbed on the site of the asphalt hot mix plant will be remediated upon cessation of the manufacture of asphalt by removal or reuse as appropriate of all materials. Waste and fine piles and disturbed areas will be graded to maintain positive drainage. Reseedings of area of disturbance were required only for those that have not reverted to natural vegetation. B, completion of a Phase 1 environmental impact assessment upon the same to ensure that the site of the asphalt hot mix plant is not contaminated. C, the term of the conditional use permit shall be 50 years from the date of approval. D, the town will not require any reclamation that is contrary to the rules and regulations of any other agencies with regulatory jurisdiction over Cortez's mining activities within the state of Arizona. And E, prior to the commencement of mining or asphalt production activities, Cortez will provide to the town of Chino Valley evidence of any required regulatory approval for said activities.
Okay.
I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. You talk faster than I write. Thank you.
You can thank my high school debate coach.
All right. Any questions? Yes, ma'am.
Excuse me, will code enforcement be checking occasionally to be sure they're following the environmental requirements?
Well, we don't enforce the environmental rules. We'd only enforce things about weeds and dead storage and those and screening and those sorts of things. The environmental enforcement is up to the ADEQ. But if we see anything suspicious, we can certainly report it to them.
Thank you.
Okay. Any follow-up questions? No. Okay. Any other questions? All right. The chair would entertain a motion.
Move to approve issuance of a conditional use permit for the operation of a portable asphalt plant on approximately 438 acres located in Section 6, Township 15 North, Range 1 West.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries. And as was enacted earlier, item E, discussion and possible action to address complaint filed by Vice Mayor Croft pursuant to Town Code Chapter 35, Code of Ethics, Section 3504, Conduct in Public Office, has been tabled until next meeting. That brings us right up to executive session. Do we need a short recess before executive session? Okay.
15 seconds.
All right. At 7 o'clock straight up, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn for a recess.
Move to recess the regular meeting and hold an executive session which will not be open to public.
Okay. Motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. You got 10 minutes. You seconded it, did you not, Lon? No.
No.
Okay. You got your second? Okay.
So why were all the people here today?
Miss Maisie, we're back in business. We'll go ahead and reconvene the regular meeting. The chair would entertain a motion to adjourn. There's been no action.
Motion to adjourn.
All
Second
right.
it.
And the second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, same sign. Motion carries.
And we're still here?